A plume of orange smoke rises above a fierce blaze. Shaky images show people running away as the flames rapidly spread. The pictures cut out as a massive blast rips across the port.
I heard a huge explosion. It was very loud. Then we saw that, unfortunately, there was a fire. You can see how the car is damaged. Roofs and windshields of all the cars were shattered.
Officials say the explosion at Iran's biggest commercial port near the southern city of Bandar Abbas may have been caused by badly stored chemicals. It caused hundreds of casualties and major damage to facilities that handle more than a third of the country's maritime trade.
When I left the building, I saw a huge blaze. There was the sound of a blast, and then the blast wave came. All glass and the facade of the building fell down.
As emergency crews struggle with the aftermath of the explosion, questions are being raised about what sparked it. The suspected chemical, sodium perchlorate, is known to be used in the production of solid rocket fuel for ballistic missiles. Media reports say a shipment of the substance left China recently bound for Iran. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian has ordered a probe into the cause of the disaster.
At least 28 people have been killed and more than 1,000 injured in an explosion at Iran's biggest port near the city of Bandar Abbas on the Persian Gulf. Officials have linked the blast at the port of Shahid Rajaee to poorly stored chemicals, but the government says it's too soon to determine the exact cause. Local rescue crews are still working to extinguish fires at the harbour, which is one of Iran's most important maritime hubs due to its location on the Strait of Hormuz. Moscow has announced it will send additional firefighting planes to assist local crews. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has offered his condolences to the victims' families.
I offer my condolences to the bereaved dear families who lost their loved ones in the painful incident at the Shahid Rajaee port. And we wish a speedy recovery to those who were injured. Necessary instructions have been given to the esteemed Minister of Health and the team of experts who are diligently addressing and resolving the issues. I hope we can resolve the problems that have arisen as soon as possible. God willing, we will certainly do so.
Ali Fathollah-Nejad is director of the Center for Middle East and Global Order and joins me from Hamburg. What more are you hearing from Iran about the possible reasons for this explosion?
Well, first of all, it's an absolute tragedy. The number of casualties is vast. And what we are hearing from official Iran, from the Islamic Republic, is that according to the Defense Ministry, the incidents and the explosions at Rajaee port near Bandar Abbas have nothing to do with military chemicals. But I would guess that the opposite is true. There is a strong indication that the explosions were due to chemicals that were shipped to Iran from China to be used for solid-fueled ballistic missiles. After Israel, during its second direct strike last year against Iran in October, had knocked out crucial ballistic missile production sites.
What indications are there to make you believe that?
Well, there is also reports from the New York Times, for instance, that are citing officials from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps who have precisely admitted that the chemicals have been those in the context that I just laid out. Mm-hmm. So there is, a high probability that that there is a link to those China-supplied chemicals to be used for ballistic missile, solid-fueled ones.
State media is reporting that the president will be visiting the site. Is this creating great uncomfort for the regime?
Well, absolutely. I mean, as of yet, there is a lot of uncertainty, of course. There is a possibility of lack of safety in the storage of those chemicals, but there is also the possibility of sabotage because the incident has occurred on the same day as the third round of talks between Iran and the United States. And there are a lot of actors who are very critical about a potential Iranian-US rapprochement or an Iranian-US deal, including Israel. So I think, I mean, we have no certainty whatsoever beyond the likelihood that this is somehow related to military chemicals, so to speak. And as such, it is also quite a disaster for the Iranian government. The authorities are trying to put a media ban on reporting and to control the narrative. So I believe that the societal outrage will be quite heavy, as society will understand that the chemicals stored have been for the regime's interest and not for the national interest.
So could you just briefly compare this to the Beirut port blast of 2020 that sparked a wave of protests after deep political unrest?
Yes, I was precisely thinking about the summer 2020 Beirut blast. And there are parallels, of course. One is that also in that incident, there were chemicals that were stored at Beirut port that all of a sudden exploded. So we don't know if this was for military use or for another use in the Beirut case. In the Iran case, this is the likelihood of military use is much higher. But the second parallel is that both explosions are linked to a corrupt elite, both in Lebanon and in Iran, who have been looking after their own vested interest instead of making sure that safety regulations are met. And this may have the same politico-psychological impact than the Beirut blasts from 2020.
OK, we're going to have to leave it there. German-Iranian political scientist Ali Fathollah-Nejad, thank you very much for being on DW.
Thank you.